Now, I feel a little bit awkward on station 4 because I'm getting ready to tell an expert in a move called the swing about an Indian club swing, but I do think this is such a great bridge for somebody who may be interested in kettlebells eventually, but right now the hip hinge, breathing, and balance is so much more important, and many of the postural cues that you'd like to give somebody with a kettlebell swing can actually be fixed here before they ever get into the ballistic move. The difference is, instead of all our momentum going this way, we're actually gonna, for the first time, cross these clubs up. So it doesn't require a lot of Indian club knowledge, but you're just basically getting this. Now, you can go the same way every time, and if that's more comfortable, that's all you're doing. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down and cross, and up and lift, okay? We're gonna inhale on the up, exhale on the down, but if your deadlift is actually a squat, you might end up with a painful knee, and it's not necessary to do that. So in your first 2 or 3 hip hinges, go progressively deeper. Now, I'm telling you like you don't know, but this is a bridge. If you really want to get somebody into that amazing exercise, I have had more easy transitions with athletes and people who've had previous back problems doing a swing with 2 pounds before we do it with 20 or 30 or 40 pounds, and it just makes good sense as the stations that precede this make good sense. So here's what it looks like. Now, the first thing you may notice is I reverse the breathing from athletic to corrective. But for somebody with poor stability, you're going to want them to use that subconscious brace coming up. Once they start swinging, it is not hard to reverse it. You just reverse it when it becomes a fitness move. But right now, this is still in a corrective category, and I want you to understand that we're breathing on an inhale when we're aggressively extending our spine, and sometimes that's all the seatbelt you need to protect that back.
I like it.
Okay, try that.
All right. So, we're just crossing.
If you're following the stations that we've been doing, just loosening up and then stepping forward and backward, gaining your balance, gaining some shoulder mobility, T-spine mobility, this is the first station where if you're feeling good, get after it. I want you to basically hold that cadence for, say, a minute, okay? When you're done with that, don't just slouch and go lay down and sit down somewhere. Go right back, there you go, to station 1 and see what this has left you with. And believe it or not, you actually recover quicker doing organized deep breathing, because how many people get through a set of something vigorous and then bring back their inappropriate breathing pattern to recover? You're recovering on the fly and appreciating a gain in balance and movement as you go.
Awesome. Can this be single leg?
Let's try, okay? And really it is. It's an awareness drill, and I noticed that you were messing around with your width.
I was fine, because, I mean, if I'm going to swing a kettlebell, I'm going to step into an athletic stance, but it felt kind of interesting to go narrow, to go a little bit wider, see what that felt like from that hinge perspective. So I'm sure single leg is going to bring a lot more awareness.
And it's possible for somebody to learn deadlifting in this and never even take it to a kettlebell swing if it's not appropriate or if it's not really in the line of their fitness goal. But the hip hinge is mandatory, and I like it at a slow speed deadlift. I like it at a functional way, single leg, and I really love it in a fast way. And so what you're giving me is fast and single. So if I start off right here with my exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale,
Got it. And it was interesting with your breathing pattern there, you went all nasal, which is a progression. And when I'm teaching people and I look for this active exhale, sometimes that's for a very functional purpose, and sometimes it's just so I know you did it. And so when you go all nasal and it got a little quieter with your breathing during that movement, that wasn't a bad thing. That was a good thing, because you went nasal, it just naturally. It just kind of actually just naturally happened for you. So I think in a movement like this, that's very interesting, and that's a good thing.
Well, it's important because I think we'll all agree that this is a submax activity. And I do know that if we were getting after it, I would want to go ahead and have that mouth exhale dump. But I do want you to embrace the fact that we're cleaning up movement. We're not trying to stress a package of movement right here as much as we're trying to organize it. We're trying to well, then we're going to often. So
cool. Well, let's see what this looks like when I go from double to single.
Okay. These two moves are where we really start relating some of the great warm-up and great flexibility, stability we got from the first three stations, because the fourth station where we're at and the one we're headed to really transition right into a kettlebell conversation. One of the things I notice people do when they're going from this nice two-legged swing into a more one-legged drive, they leave their deadlift and go into a squat because they're so used to maybe single leg squatting or pistols, or they just want to incorporate the quad. They don't want to use the glute quite that stressful. So what we're looking for is we don't want to see that knee come much more forward than it did with the two-legged version. And that's hard for some people, but just don't go as deep, and then use your breath and the momentum of the clubs to take you deeper, but in a hip hinge, not a squat. So a lot of people take that single leg stance opportunity and they squat a little bit.
And if I needed a bridge, I establish single leg stance. Instead of trying to go from double to single. So now I have a bridge from double to single to going single during the double. Exactly. And so that's a nice progression as well, and there's a lot of skill and fun that can be had there.
Now, just to answer the question before you ask it, if we were to use the first three stations as your warm-up and this station and the next one is your workout, as long as you don't need correction, we reverse the breathing and really let you dump that exhale in the exertion and inhale. But there's no reason to do that if there are balance and range of motion problems, because that's the body's way of saying you need to sync up the primal breath and the basic movement first, then we can get athletic. So that confuses a lot of people, but since we've been screening breathing, since we've been coaching breathing, and since we've been looking at functional movement, the best way to get a better mark on the screen, whether we're breathing screen or movement screening you, is get that extension inhale synced up. When movement's looking great, you flip breathing and movement is retained.
Absolutely.